3 minutes.
26, 25, 24, 23.
Sharon's up.
22, 21, 27, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Wilson Brothers channel. I'm Isaac. This is David. We are so happy to be with you guys today talking about one of the most interesting subjects that I probably have ever come across: aliens, UFOs, UAPs.
I'm very conflicted myself.
We have our friend Tim right over here sitting in the studio with us today. He is an expert in all things aliens, UFOs, and UAPs. And we're going to dive into a couple topics surrounding this. What are aliens? Where do they come from? Are they here now? Are they even real? Most of the general public is starting to become way more educated on this space, especially considering the hearing that happened on November 13th in Congress. Well, Tim, welcome.
Welcome, Peps. How are you?
Speak into the mic if you don't mind.
And pull up some, my friend. We want to see your beautiful face.
All right, so let's get into it. Obviously, we're going to talk about Shag Harbor. We're going to talk about aliens and presidents. How about all different alien species like Draco? I have no idea. There's a lot of things we're going to cover today. So, Tim, first and foremost, give us a little background on you yourself. You have a TV show that you're funding right now, and just give us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in this subject. I mean, it's a fascinating subject, actually. It just blows the mind every time you kind of think about it, if you really kind of get into it. And I've always wanted to do an X-Files style TV show, even though, you know, I actually did a rerun on the X-Files. And it's not actually that similar to the X-Files. It's similar in parts to it, you know, the conspiracy parts and what have you. The, you know, the kind of... the secret shadowy figures and what have you. But yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult subject matter to cover truthfully and to cover without bias. People are very opinionated on the subject. I mean, it is the most important subject of humanity, to be honest. I mean, there isn't a bigger question. And it's very difficult, and it takes a lot of kind of like, you know, to write something honest that is, as again, you know, not biased, but covers all the facts, all the key events, all of the history of the phenomena, all of the different main timelines, the different aspects, you know, interdimensional.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it takes a lot of thought power. You know, there's a lot of key characters. You know, if you're going to do a TV show about this phenomena, you have to cover all the key characters. You have to cover them in an unbiased way. There's a lot of huge egos in the field as well. So you have to, and I've met a lot of the key characters. In fact, a lot of the top consultants, you know, Hynek, whose father was the lead guy, was actually in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Spielberg's. He did a cameo. He's a consultant. We've got Dodie. There's been on a lot of different TV shows. He's a very interesting character. We have Steve Bassett, who works with Congress, Dan Hanan, who's the founder of the Hollywood Disclosure Alliance. We've obviously in touch with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, Ross Coulthard, which I think is a huge spearhead in the whole, you know, he's obviously runs the News Nation's you know, breaking interviews. He actually worked with David Grush, which is what our show's based upon, the first whistleblower that came out.
When do you expect to get all of this up and running?
The TV show's written. I've done 11-part TV show. because I wanted to, the first season, I really wanted to go from 19th. Well, they think the first crash retrieval was in 1939, which I didn't even know about. Everyone thinks it was Roswell or the couple of crashes around Roswell, which was the early 40s. But apparently David Grush came out and said there was Mussolini. Apparently a UFO came down Mussolini's time, 1939.
That's the first documented people think they saw
they
something?
Think, well, no, not saw something. This is an actual crash.
Okay.
That was retrieved by Mussolini's army and then brought, and they actually thought it was the Germans. They were like, oh, hey, the Germans have crashed their new, weapon technology. They couldn't work out what this thing was. And then when the Americans came in, they discovered it, or they were given it. I think actually the Vatican took control of it. And then there was a deal between the Vatican and the US, and then it was brought back to the US.
How did it crash?
We don't know. It came down in northern Italy.
Did it come down like a crater, or did it come in?
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. I mean, look, a lot of people will say, and it's a good thought, oh my God, if these UFOs are so technically advanced, why are they crashing? I think when they first started to experiment with the nuclear trainings, and there was a lot of radar technology going around with Roswell, and that's what they think a lot of the crash was caused with the radar, the new radar technology that was coming out in the early 40s. There's the most interesting video clip, I think, about the whole UFO field, and I have to get it. I think it's the S1, where you see an orb coming into Earth's atmosphere. Then you do see a bright light, and then this flash, and then this other streaking object coming out from Earth, and then this UFO just turns and goes like that. It is the craziest footage. I mean, it really is. And you're like, well, what is that? Is that a weapon from?
I'm gonna pull that real quick.
I've asked him. I work with an absolute expert who's very, very serious guy on the subject. I mean, I'm serious as well, but he really knows his thing. I've asked him to bring up what the footage is. It's something like S1 something. I have to find it, but I mean, people who know about the UFO field and events. But yeah, this orb comes into Earth's atmosphere. There's this flash down here.
When was it? When was this again?
And then if this orb flies out, this is, I think, maybe in the 80s, 90s. But the film footage comes from a space station or space or satellite or spacecraft. But what is that? Is that secret weapons from humanity / humans creating that and trying to scare off these orbs? Or is that a different alien race protecting us? Because, if you believe in one part of this, which personally I do, and I respect everybody's opinion that don't and what have you, everything is possible at that point, because it's like there could be multiple alien species, and there probably are. There probably are. So in that case, is this just a different alien species, trying to scare off another alien species? It's very interesting. It is interesting footage.
So my main thing is I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to government agencies and corruption. I believe they're doing things that we could never imagine, but they will never let us know of it, either to, quote, protect us in their eyes or for corruption. So if I said right now, I'm a skeptic in a way of, I'm not saying aliens don't exist, but I'm saying I don't know if there's enough evidence that I can trust the government to say they do exist. So what would be your biggest thing to prove to me that aliens exist in your eyes?
I think you just got to go to the Drake equation. You got to look at the mathematics and the numbers involved in the universe. And the fact that every grain of sand on this planet is actually a planet in the universe. I mean, the numbers are so insane that you would just be stupid and grossly arrogant to think that we are the only civilization, in the universe, to be honest with you. But what I really like as well is just crazy theories about there's a theory about the hologram effect, and I need to look into it. Is the whole universe a hologram, and it's just kind of this planet? I mean, I don't particularly agree in that, but I just think there are I just think anything's possible. I literally believe anything is possible. I think maybe, you look at the simulation theory and you think maybe these UFOs, the orbs we're seeing, maybe they're coming down from the simulation, changing parts of the code and then coming back. Because if you think about it in a computer game, very similar to the Matrix, like Anderson, for example, he can do whatever he wants within the Matrix, right? Because they actually built it. There's a big theory about the simulation theory. These objects are moving 10,000 times faster than anything we've built. So it's like,
how does that compare to the speed of light?
The speed of light isn't 190,000. I'd have to do the math. It's 190,000. I don't know, but it's not anywhere close to the speed of light, but it's very, very quick.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest things is if we truly believe that the universe is infinite, ever expanding, what would be the odds that if there is an alien species out there, whether it be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because of the odds that you just claimed, how would they be able to find us if it's infinite? And it's just you compound the odds, because the odds of them being able to find us and that they found us but were able to remain hidden for so long, there's just a lot of questions I have that would have to be answered for me to be 100% on board with aliens, I guess.
But I don't think anybody's 100% on board, unless you've literally had dinner with an alien. So it's like, it's all a mystery, isn't it? I mean, I definitely think they come from the oceans, or there's a base down there, or there's a hotspot stroke portal or something. There's definitely something to do with the oceans. There's no question at this point.
How much of the ocean has actually been discovered?
Yeah.
It's like only like 15%, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I mean, compared to space, ocean is actually a lot scarier, because there's deep waters of places that have this incredible magnetic ability and hot spots all over the world that aliens, if they were real, could be hiding in. Where do you think aliens come from? Like foundationally?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good argument to think that maybe the whole theory is about Atlantis, or there was a technical civilization on this planet, and maybe they all went underwater, to save themselves from a potential comet strike or whatever it is. So maybe a massive solar flare, but there's something going on in the water. I mean, this is what George Knapp's latest documentary features as well. That so many of the sightings come from water. They're coming in and out of the oceans. When they go into the oceans, the famous, what was interesting recently about the latest U.S. Congress hearing was Jeremy Corbell says the famous octopus UFO, which is a crazy footage of this kind of flying octopus, and it changes color. Changes heat. It went into the water. The footage that hasn't been released, it goes into the water and comes out again. But basically, when it goes into the water, it doesn't splash. There's no splash. So that's very interesting.
Well, it sounds like that defies the laws of physics.
Well, that's why it could be part of they could be part of the simulation. The people when they do DMT, they say this, they can see the whole world as a digital environment. But yeah, so if they don't splash, and that means underwater is nothing to them. It's just like them being on normal air. It's just like, so under the water, it could just be as easy as anything.
What does the government? You said there was a Congress hearing. I haven't looked that up.
Yep.
You said you found that. Walk us through that. What did the Congress say about it? Because if they are finally revealing things after all this time, because everyone's wanted to know, what are those things flying? Are people that late at night see random things, or if they're abducted, are they real? What does Congress say about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a question more for you, Tim.
I think the whole abduction thing is a topic that people don't like to talk about, which is completely understandable, because it is fucking, excuse me, it's very scary. It's very scary, and it probably has happened, to be honest with you. It probably has happened because you look at Betty and Barney Hill, that case, it's just like, why would these two very normal, white and black man come out with this crazy story about being abducted when they get no benefit from it whatsoever? They get terrible ridicule. There's no benefit to their life whatsoever. Normal people that wouldn't, and
there are mentally unwell people though.
Fine, but
there's schizophrenia. There's
weren't.
people like that.
Also, the two, the fisherman, him and his son, that says they got abducted, and they went to the police station, and the police left them in the room, and they were recording the conversation in secret. And if these guys were making up the story, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we've got these guys. I can't believe they believe their story." But that did not happen. They left the room, and they were still talking about this crazy abduction experience. But again,
what was it like? Tell us what do you remember what their story was? Like
they
how they got abducted?
said that they got abducted by these crazy looking beings that came to them, and there were on the night of this happening. It's on Netflix. You can see this on Netflix.
What's it called?
I can't remember. It's a famous case.
I'll look it up. Father and son abducted.
Father and son fishing, and he died. But he was changed after the experience. He was never the same again. But it's that type of thing probably wouldn't come out in Congress because it's a scary thought.
What do you think of again, Isaac and I are Christians. I'm not saying I have this belief I'm about to share with you, but I'm curious on your thoughts of it. A lot of Christians that I know say that aliens are demons or fallen angels, especially a lot of the flat earthers believe that there's not really a space, but they believe that if asteroids fall, that's either fallen angels,
the Nephilim,
or that angels are just demons because there's a supernatural world.
Aliens are demons.
Yeah, aliens are demons.
Angels are demons.
Not demons. That aliens are demons. What do you think of that, and what's your opinion of the supernatural in a whole? But I want to segue into that.
I do believe there's a supernatural plane. I believe that ghosts exist. I actually have seen a ghost who've absolutely freaked me out. Clear as day. We were coming back to my friend's house, and I saw this figure just walk across the room.
You sure it wasn't your ex?
In front of this window. And about an hour or two passed, and I said, "Oh, Ira, who's upstairs?" He said, "Nobody." I said, "Dude, 100%. I saw somebody walk past the wall when we drove in, like 100%." He said, "No." So that was very, very strange. Very, very strange. So I believe that there is a spiritual place, and perhaps ghosts do get trapped in this area for a time. But going back to what you were saying about angels and demons, it's very easy to, back in the day when somebody saw an orb, for example, let's say in Jesus's time, they would obviously think that is an angel. Maybe today it's different because of science. We obviously know more about science and what have you. But then it's different when you see the crafts. But, in cave drawings and in ancient tapestries, there's the very interesting German tapestry that has this whole drawing about a big UFO kind of event that happened with orbs coming out of spaceships and everything. It's very interesting.
Go ahead.
What do you think about Shag Harbor?
Shag Harbor, I'm surprised they haven't done a Netflix special on that, and they probably will. I think Shag Harbor is probably one of the most interesting UFO events.
Can you educate the audience on it?
I write about that.
And can you silence your phone?
Well, actually, here we go. This is my UFO guru, Dave, who's my producer on the show. He really knows everything. But yeah.
Really?
This is the 80 or 40 incidents. I'm just telling him I'm on podcast, right?
Because I know a lot of the audience has no idea what Shag Harbor is.
So the audience should look this up. The STS-40 or STS-80. It's a very interesting clip. There was also another one where they had this close-up of the sun, and you see this huge object. You see this huge round object come in and pulls like plasma from the sun and then flies off again. it's this crazy footage, and this object is probably like as big as the Earth. It's very, very interesting. And this is, I mean, nowadays the problem is, you've got AI, you've got all these.
You don't know what to believe.
It's difficult these days because there's a lot of fake
Deep fakes.
imagery, deep fakes. It's very difficult these days. But back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, 70s,
Wasn't as easy to fake. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's still a lot of UFO photography. But then again, some of the famous ones, it could just be some guy off screen flipping a frisbee, throwing a silver plate, snap it.
That's my skepticism.
I know, but there's
just
so much. Fine, but there is so much. I mean, 1952, when they flew over Washington, that's not somebody flying multiple sources. That is orbs flying over the Capitol building, and it would happen on 2 weekends in a row.
Do you think they are gentle creatures to do us good or harm? Because if they flew over Washington, 1952, that's 72 years ago, why have we not seen more? Is it been the government's trying to hide them?
Yes, I mean, that's 100%. I mean, that is clear, but by now 100% clear. And it's just interesting that, I always find it's who are the people that know the absolute secrets, because, there are databases full of, I mean, I was watching a documentary on the Phoenix Lights, and apparently there is footage of a fighter pilot going up, flying right next to this UFO. And there was a camera on the front of the airplane, and obviously that footage got confiscated. So there's some kind of black vault somewhere with all this insane footage, photos, evidence. That's so interesting. I wonder where.
What about Area 51?
And that's what I'm writing about. I mean, Area 51, you just have to read the book or watch the documentary the day after Roswell.
What's your opinion on it, though?
Well, one of our consultants on the TV show, his grandfather is the guy holding up all the material, Jesse Marcel Sr. He was the guy at Roswell that was instructed to fake the story.
So what's your TV show going to be about?
It follows an investigative journalist based on Ross Coulthart, who really was a skeptic to start with. And then somebody said, in Australia, some lady took a photo of a huge saucer above her washing line. And then he took the pictures into the Australian news network, and they said, no, they don't want to run it. So then he took the story to another network, and then suddenly it was the biggest story in Australia at the time. So we said, well, what is this? This is an interesting thing. And he was a skeptic to start with, and then he decided to really look into the subject matter and started doing a lot of research, and then slowly started to realize there's actually something to this. And then he decided to go to America, and this is what my TV show follows, because you have to start with something. You have to have the hero's journey. But the ultimate hero in the show is the first whistleblower, a character based on the David Grush character. So he gets brought into the secret access projects, and his job is to kind of like report back and transparency on all these different access projects. And then suddenly people within the agency starts giving him breadcrumbs to this program, simply named the program. And he doesn't know what it is, but it's simply called the program. And therefore, he cannot get any inside information at all when he tries to discover what this secret program is about. And within the agency, people give him little nods that this is a secret government crash UFO retrieval program that's been in effect from the 1940s. So it's his story. He obviously, his big dilemma at the time is, does his work for the agency or coming out to the general public with, mankind's biggest question and evidence.
Also, real quick, I want to say, if any of you that are watching have questions, put them in the comments, and we'll see if Timothy can get stumped or not. For example, L Angel 77 said, many of us Christians aren't flat earthers at all. correct. I'm not a flat earther myself, but I do think aliens might be demons because they're a huge distraction from people looking at God for answers. For some, it's a religion cult. So that's an interesting perspective. But yeah, I'm not a flat earther myself. But yeah, if any of you do have anything to write, put the comments out there. If the video is finished, we'll try to respond to you after the fact through text. But if you want a question live, now's the time. Continue.
Aliens and presidents. What are your thoughts on aliens and presidents?
Well, the most interesting one is the Eisenhower era, because if, let's say, you do believe in that we are being visited by UAP, I like to use the word UFO because it's just, I mean, that was the original word.
Yeah, and it sounds cooler.
It sounds cool, and they are ultimately flying objects. But it is a phenomenon as well.
You're going to be abducted, dude.
But yeah.
He's
No, I mean,
gonna get taken down to hell. He's like, this is not an alien spacecraft. I'm just joking.
My visa ran out.
Sorry, go ahead. No, that's fine. So the question was, the presidents. So I mean, obviously, apparently, the Republicans know a lot, whereas the Democrats don't know. So, for example, the Clintons were all kept in the dark about it, but the Bushes and the you should actually look up Eisenhower if he was a Democrat or a Republican.
I think Eisenhower was a Democrat.
Was he? But yeah, so it was definitely the Eisenhower administration that was put into effect after Roswell. They created the CIA, and it was during that time where they created the secrecy.
No, he was a Republican.
Yeah, so exactly. So the Republicans do know a lot more about the subject, and I think they keep the Democrats, the annoying Democrats, in the dark about it. Yeah, probably for good reason.
Well, I want to show you real quick this Donald Trump and Logan Paul debate UFOs. So I want to show you this real quick just to see what you think.
Interesting.
There are unidentified aerial phenomena in the sky. We don't know what they are. Do you?
I have met with people that are serious people, pilots that look just like you, actually. Tom Cruise, but taller. These are perfect people that say, sir, there was something there that was round in form and going like 4 times faster. And they really mean it. Am I a believer? No.
There are unidentified.
So he's been told by pilots that there's stuff flying around, but yet he doesn't believe it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Elon even said that he would be the first person to post it on X.com.
He would?
If there was actual alien life, like if he saw it, or like there could be proven UFOs. So what do you think of that? Because it looks like Elon's even skeptical.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. Elon is certainly skeptical, I think. I mean, maybe that will change. I think people are changing now, about their thoughts on the subject. Trump, I just don't think is very interested in the matter. Some people are very interested in the topic. Other people are not so interested. I think you have to have an interest in it as well to do your research. I mean, doing the research is probably the most important thing. And who knows what? Maybe they do know, and maybe, obviously, this is the most closely guarded secret on the planet.
Yeah.
Particularly with Elon, maybe governments, agencies say, hey, look, we'll fund SpaceX, but when it comes to this question, you have to deny all knowledge about it,
Do you, what was my question? Continue. It'll come back to me.
So aliens and presidents. So you were talking about Eisenhower. What other presidents were either for it or against alien life?
Also, I was going to say this. It came back to me. What's Alex Jones' opinion on this?
I think, he has some very interesting views on alien life.
Yeah.
And he thinks that the government is secretly doing hybrid, like half spider, half human, half pig, half human experiments.
I'm not surprised. That's Alex Jones. Yeah.
Interdimensional beings coming and taking advantage of young women. It's really
so he has more like some very wild supernatural.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I mean he would be a perfect guest on Sid Roth and Supernatural. I mean, he would do really well with that. But back to Eisenhower, I'm curious because I want to know, is there any secret government agencies that you're aware of through your research that aren't really covered in mainstream media that are hiding potential secrets of UFO phenomena?
Well, they obviously, the whistleblowers have all the information, and some of the top people in the field have that information and know the places where these UFOs are stationed or hidden. They think that, which totally makes sense, that a lot of the technologies was put into the private sector, because with the private sector, because they're not part of the government, they have privacy. They don't, if it was a government thing, the people could be like, oh, we want to see all the technology.
And clearance levels as well.
Yeah. So if you put it into the private sector, then obviously you can keep all the technology hidden. But they're probably deep underground. They say the Wright-Patterson Blue Room was where they took the first craft from Roswell. There were definitely alien bodies taken during that time. It's I mean, at this point, if you really do the facts, there's a great book, The Day After Roswell. I think it's a documentary as well. How they came in and hid it. But yeah, regarding the president thing, I mean, it's interesting because, if you do believe parts of the UFO story, there's nothing to say that this stuff didn't happen. Like, apparently Eisenhower did meet ETs, and it was called the Granada Treaty. So it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. The Granada Treaty. Okay.
Yeah.
David, can you pull up the 3 videos that I sent you in that document about the congressional hearing? Because I want to get Tim's feedback on that. And while he's pulling that up, what would be your feelings on if a UFO or an alien was to meet you face to face? Like, what would be your initial gut reaction? Like, what would you do?
Let's go make love, baby.
Timmy
Timmy time.
Timmy time between the sheets.
I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, they say they communicate telepathically.
Telepathically?
Yeah. So you wouldn't even have a conversation. You would just have a mind.
Oh, that would be so weird,
dude.
I don't want somebody in my head.
Yeah,
I already have enough thoughts.
That would be so creepy, man.
Yeah, so that's how you would communicate. But they could also probably take control of your thoughts as well. So it would be kind of scary.
All right, so you want me to show you these videos?
Yeah. So let's go over the one, the bottom from top.
Yeah, Immaculate Constellation. This is the name of the secret UFO program.
Right. Okay, let's see what we got.
Volume up.
The new unnamed government whistleblowers come forward asserting that a highly classified program exists dedicated to recovery and reverse engineering of UAP technologies. What can you give us what specific evidence you have or that your source provided you to substantiate the claims about the existence of the Immaculate Constellation program?
Well, you have the report in front of you now, so you can see it for yourself. I checked the report and I did not find it based on existing cases. It was new cases for me. I hadn't found anybody. So that answered for me that it was not obviously circular reporting, which is one of the big concerns in this space. I also had the name of the program confirmed by more than one additional source. So yeah, and then of course I checked to make sure that the source was who they claimed to be.
Go to the next one.
Next one.
Yeah. And
this one?
Yeah, make it full screen. There you go.
All right.
It's quite a cool name for the secret UFO program.
You've stated that the government is in possession of potentially non-human spacecraft. Based on your experience and extensive conversations with experts, do you believe our government has made contact with intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
That's probably a yes.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
She's
That's-
great.
It's just all
She's
so.
amazing.
It's all so.
It's so interesting. She's great. The Congresswoman Mace. She is. I'm going to write her in season 2 of the TV show because she's just come out as a real big advocate for the movement in Congress.
You know, she just did a bill banning transgender Congress people from bathrooms.
Yeah,
of the
I know,
opposite
but
gender.
like this is so much more interesting and much more important, to be honest with you.
Fair enough.
So
You're like, I
it's-
couldn't give a crap about
Exactly. It's just like, yeah,
It's just a
As
talking
this is
point.
the real
until
stuff.
you have daughters. I have 2 daughters. Once that happens, then you'll care. But as a single man yourself, I totally respect it. There's one more that you wanted me to show you, right?
Yep.
This is actual Congress.
I will now recognize Mr. Garcia for 5 minutes.
Thank you. And I apologize for stepping out. My governor is here upstairs, so I'm trying to get in between meetings. So apologize for that. I want to just start by just asking everyone on the panel or witnesses, and I had a chance to read all the testimony before, but just to set the agenda, just if we can go down real briefly, do you believe, just for the record, that the federal government, any part of the federal government, is knowingly concealing evidence about UAPs from the public?
Yes, sir.
100%.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. I also want to just go down the line. I know many of you have already said this, but I just, for the record again, just briefly, what do you believe UAPs could be or are?
Strong evidence that they are non-human, higher intelligence.
I echo my colleague's comment, sir.
Genuinely do not know.
Whew. Don't know, but we must find out. Okay, thank you.
Man, that's crazy. Wow.
It really is. It's mind blowing every time I think about it. It's so interesting. It's fascinating if you really take an interest in it. People should take an interest in it because it's the most important topic. Are we alone in the universe? This is like the biggest question, and this is the evidence and the story that's coming out. Hence why I'm writing a TV show on it. It's a fascinating topic.
Well, going back to L Angel 77, she said, I'm assuming it's a she. In 2022, the government announced the disclosure of alien activity, but most people ignored it. So much going on, most are numb. Do you think the government uses this to distract the public, or that they do speak truth?
Yeah, that is the problem, isn't it? That everyone's obsessed with their social media or whatever it is that's happening in their day. They're not really taking note of this.
Yeah, I think we can only look at evidence from before 5 years ago. If there is evidence, we can't look at anything now because I see things online. I see yesterday, Isaac and I were just chilling here. I saw a 2-year-old child deadlifting and it looked like a real life child.
Really?
AI. It's freaking insane.
Yeah.
But it showed all this stuff. I'm like, that looks real. Now anything that's showing me online, oh, this is evidence of anything. Flat Earth.
Yeah,
You
the
can't,
TikTok stuff.
you can't believe it.
That's a scary part, honestly, about AI that a lot of people are worried about is it's going to get so good, you're just not going to really be able to tell the difference.
They actually think the gray aliens, or maybe some of the gray aliens, are robotics, kind of like biological robots, which would make sense because obviously the G-force that these crafts are taking, if you do that, a human would just die. You'd be splattered. So they think and they have these suits as well, and inside the suits they're kind of like, and it would make sense because we first sent a monkey up into space, right? We didn't go into space ourselves first. So maybe they are just very advanced probes, kind of AI robots, kind of with a biological thing.
What about Draco?
Well, I don't know. I see when people talk about all the different alien species like the Dracos and the Nordics and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know if I can believe that. But having said that, being a believer in the UFO phenomena, what is there to say that everything is real? There's definitely an argument to say, well, if you believe in this part, then surely everything else is potentially
wouldn't that
true?
Wouldn't that be though? If everything's real, then nothing's real.
What does that mean? Does that just sound
super
good?
existential?
It doesn't make sense.
You told me behind closed doors something, but I want to hear your opinion right now live. Do you think that people are stupid if they say aliens just aren't real? Do you think they're actually stupid, or do you think, what's your opinion on that?
Not stupid, but I say they don't take an interest in it. But I would definitely say you really have to look into it at this point, because I do feel it is all coming out, and I feel people say, oh, well, why don't they just, land on the Washington lawn? And you could say, well, in 1952, they pretty much did. I mean, they literally flew over the Capitol building twice in a row. If you look at that weekend, 1952.
Why is that not documented more though? Because I haven't heard much about it as much.
Yeah, because you haven't done your research. If you were to you spend an evening looking up 1952, what happened, it's all there.
Okay, Isaac's YouTubing it right now.
Yeah, it's a very famous video clip, probably the most famous video clip of orbs flying over the Congress. But it happened 2 weekends in a row.
This is
also the nuclear. They've been showing up over nuclear silos for many, and also in the water. There's a lot of nuclear. Unfortunately, a lot of nuclear submarines, and I find the whole nuclear thing ridiculous.
I didn't know this. Someone said L Angel 77. People even made memes and reels, TikToks of how unmoved and unbothered they were by the alien news. Like just one more thing to happen. I guess people really don't care about it.
Yeah, I know, that's a shame, isn't it?
Oh, that's wild. Did you find anything?
That's actually, Dave, why I want to do this.
Clip.
That's why I want to do this TV show.
Okay.
Because I think if you make a really cool TV show that examines all of the big events, I just think people these days, it is about entertainment, isn't it? Netflix, what is people doing every
there's
evening.
a reason why it's that documentary on Netflix is so popular with aliens. I mean, everybody's
the first
interested in it now.
But look, I mean, I don't believe in everything. I think the
Control
case
and domination.
the case with the alien abduction in New York, I think that was bullshit.
Really?
I think she was completely making it up. So not everything is I personally believe, but there's certainly a lot out there.
So what is this? You just sent me this video.
It's a 4-minute clip describing.
But also, I get sent UFO videos from friends of mine. I'm like, guys, that's so fake. I'm like, come on, Jesus, please. Like, Tim, have you seen this? Like, absolute bullshit.
Do you want me to show any of this?
Not right now. Keep going.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull up the actual footage.
The actual footage. We're gonna get to the body of this, the bottom of this, because I need some meat. Do you think they look more like an alien from E.T. or from the Aliens horror films? Or are any of them even accurate? Do we know pretty well what they look like now?
I mean, I think there's been so many accounts of what the gray alien looks like, right?
Yeah.
But for example, if you were to believe this abduction case with the fishermen, you should flash that up what they particularly look like. They look like, kind of reptilian creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Also, actually, the case in Brazil where they caught these alien creatures, James Fox's documentary called A Moment of Contact.
Mm-hmm.
You watch that and you're like, oh my God, something really did happen in this Brazilian town. And also they smell of sulfur, apparently a very overwhelming smell. And you kind of don't think about that, what they smell like, but it was like very sulfur. But, there's things, there's gravitational magnetics, and also Skinwalker Ranch. It's very interesting what they're finding out about the phenomenon in Skinwalker Ranch. And there was an amazing clip of an orb flying into the mesa, flying through the mesa, and then flying out again. It was taken from the helicopter. That was interesting. These things can literally fly through objects. Just bizarre. And again, that's why maybe it's all part of a simulation. Maybe, I don't know.
Is this it right here?
No. But probably this one.
This one?
It's probably footage.
What are you looking at?
Oh, this is just basically explaining. If you put in Washington, 1950 Washington, D.C. Yeah, well, if you keep on
it's hard to find something that's not going to be History Channel and get us.
Oh, yeah, actually, well,
copyrighted.
this is what happened after the event.
This one?
Yeah,
right here.
So he comes out after the event.
So we just
talking about it.
Should we watch this?
And back then, Yeah, you should potentially put that up. Back then, they weren't covering it up. They were like, something is happening. It's actually the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Second World War. They were like, what are these orbs flying around the planes?
What do you think the purpose was of aliens in World War II? Like, if they were flying around, what were they doing?
They're just monitoring. I mean, they're still monitoring. They're over at bases in Iraq, and now, obviously, with the drone videos and the technology from satellites, they are being captured. But they're just monitoring, because we as a species, unfortunately, if you look at there's that insane documentary about the nuclear warheads. On both sides, how many nuclear warheads and the power and destruction of these nuclear weapons are insane to me.
Oh yeah, you sent me that video the other day.
Have you guys seen it?
It has like 15 million views
scary.
or 11 or something in 3 months.
I mean,
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Any alien species would be like, hold on a minute, these humans have got nuclear weapons pointing at each other, not pointing out to space to protect them from space, but actually firing at each other. Like, they must be thinking, these guys are absolute psychopaths.
Do you think aliens are going to be the end of the human species?
It could be the savior of the human species.
In what way? How would they say?
Well,
this?
for example, there have been examples of them turning off nuclear weapons. Famous case,
like just flying out of nowhere and turning it off in the sky.
Yeah, no. But you're laughing, but seriously, yeah.
Really?
I mean, hovering over nuclear silos and it was about to start a world war, because the Americans thought it was the Russians doing it, and turning off all of their nuclear weapons. And then the Russians had an event where all the nuclear weapons were turned on and armed.
Wow.
Yeah. And there is the Holloway. There's the Holloway footage that nobody's seen of they were going to shoot a nuclear weapon into space, and this UFO appears from nowhere and shoots down the missile.
That's
so that footage.
Crazy.
That footage is somewhere, like in some locked up basement, a black site somewhere underground. That's what fascinates me, that all this footage is out there somewhere, and probably about, I don't know, maybe 35 people on the whole planet has access. Who knows?
It's wild. You want to pull up that clip?
Yeah.
So while he's pulling that up, who do you think?
All right, I have it ready if you're ready.
Let's do it. Let's watch it.
Flying saucers. There you go.
There's the aliens.
That's funny. I love all this archive old footage. It's brilliant. This footage is very famous.
Is he gonna speak?
Yeah, what's going on?
You got to fast forward.
I'm here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
Ooh.
The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. In pursuit of this obligation, since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1,000 and 2,000 reports that have come to us from all kinds of sources. Of this great mass of reports, we have been able adequately to explain the great bulk of them, explain them to our own satisfaction. We've been able to explain them as hoaxes, as erroneously identified friendly aircraft, as meteorological or electronic phenomena, or as light aberrations.
All right. Let me pause that real quick. What do you think of what he just said?
Well, he actually, the kicker is what he goes on to say.
Okay, so
yeah,
we
I
gotta
think
keep
it's
going.
too premature. We got to keep going.
Yeah,
Too premature.
But he goes on to say that those definitely percentages that cannot be explained.
And what year was this in?
52.
19th. Oh, so this is based on what you said.
Yeah, that was that was like following the week, because these things were flying over Washington. Everybody was seeing them, but also, and this is what I should say, I understand the government's, or part of the government's, up until now, why they're keeping the secret, because number one, their role as a government is to protect its people, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have no idea what these things are. They have no way to protect against them. So what are you going to say? You're going to come out and say, hey guys, we're being visited by ETs, but we have no idea what they are and we can't protect you. Good luck. Bye.
Bye.
That would cause full-scale meltdowns.
So from their point of view, it's probably easier for them to hide it. And then you've obviously got the whole Russia, China situation about being in a warm war with them about this technology as well, and not wanting to kind of release any. It's probably better for them to keep it secret. But now you have the question of, well, it is the biggest question in mankind. So at that point, you have to let the people know. And I think the people are mature enough now to understand. And also, if you're trying to figure it out, you should open source it, to 7 billion people, because people are, who I really like at the moment is, what's his name? Doctor, he's from the Soul Foundation. There's a particular doctor, his name escapes me now, but who's Gary, God, I forgot his name. But he is a real leader right now in the whole UFO movement. He's a scientist from Stanford. And he just knows a lot of stuff and has got a lot of patents. And it's the scientists. The problem is it's very because they're trying to keep it so secret. It's very it's all in different compartments. So you might be working on one part of the technology. You might be working on another. You can't talk to each other about what you've discovered or what you've discovered. I can't talk about the propulsion, and that it's difficult. You have to understand stuff. Scientists have to talk to each other. Otherwise, you have to share knowledge. Gary Nolan is his name, Dr. Gary Nolan. He's really at the forefront right now of the science behind it and trying to figure out the science. There's so much interesting stuff. They think the UFO craft could actually be living entities, actually living. And also consciousness. It's all linked to consciousness as well.
All right, let's finish this video and then we're going to sign off.
All right.
However, there have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve. Our basic difficulty in dealing with these is that there is no measurement of them that makes it possible for us to put them in any pattern that would be profitable for a deliberate, custom sort of analysis to take the next step. We have, as of date, come to only one firm conclusion with respect to this remaining percentage, and that is that it does not contain any pattern of purpose or of consistency that we can relate with to any conceivable threat to the United States.
Good.
Is that?
It's like,
is that okay?
Is that okay? So he's just saying
that what I was supposed to say?
So he's saying there's no threat to the United States.
I don't think there is a threat.
But how can we know though?
That's
we can't know.
That's politics.
How can we know though?
We don't know.
Politicians lie all the time and they make the generals do it for them.
Do you think that aliens are a bigger threat or nuclear warfare?
Nuclear warfare.
But what I'm saying is that
terrifying.
if aliens based off of this are real and they have advanced technology that they can go through things,
then we can nuke them.
How?
Well, it's not like they're
nukes go so slow in the sky.
They're not impervious to nuclear warfare.
Huh?
There's no way.
But I'm saying if we're basing it off of
But then we nuke ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. If we tried to nuke them,
nukes shouldn't even be a thing. They should all be banned. Like it's disgusting that we have nukes.
I get why we have it, because we can't risk them having it and us not having it. But the creation of it is
disarmament. There
is a
should
tragedy.
there should be on both sides 6,000 nuclear warheads on both sides.
It's crazy.
It's
The just the magnitude of these nuclear weapons. And Trump is right when he said that the biggest threat
Disarmament.
to America is nuclear weapons.
No, he said nuclear warming. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah.
And more than global warming
He
is
should say to
nuclear
Putin,
warming.
"Hey, look, let's disarm on both sides." Like,
But then you have North Korea. Do you think?
Yeah, North Korea's never.
You
gonna
think
do-
North Korea's
they're
going to
never
step
gonna
down?
I don't think they
denuclearize.
have a nuke yet. North.
Yeah, they
Korea.
do.
Oh, they do.
They have a
They're,
lot.
they're one of the top 3 in the world, along with us. China, I'd say the top 4 is us, Russia, China, and North
Russia
Korea.
has the most nukes.
We
in the
should
world.
put
Yeah,
more
Russia.
and more money into the the defense of from space. There are missile defense systems set up where if a missile was sent over from it can take it down before it gets
That's
here.
why
But-
Trump created Space Force.
Exactly,
It might be the
Space
greatest
Force and-
invention of all time.
yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like as we close out here. I'm trying to think of what I would do if an alien came face to face with me.
You'd be anally probed.
You would
Love it.
Now you would say, "I've been waiting for you my entire life, baby." She wouldn't be able to speak your language, and you'd be happy.
Time of my life.
But yeah,
I've
it's-
never felt this way before.
There you go.
I swear. this
Also,
is
tell
true.
everybody real quick, Tim, before we get off, that you're actually creating a YouTube channel soon where every night of the week or most nights you're going to have a call-in where people can call in and actually tell their stories,
Yeah.
right? So
UFO
tell
hotline, right?
yeah, UFO hotline. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that.
I don't know. I've always thought it'd be fun to have a YouTube channel. I think these days the media, you look at all of the podcasters now, everyone's turning to their own channels and media, even the public. Legacy media like CNN and all those news goods. It's all going online, isn't it? It seems. So why not have a UFO channel? People can call in and have a nice little discussion about their side. It'd just be fun.
It would be fun.
It's a fascinating subject. If I'm obviously running a TV show, it helps me get content and ideas as well. So I think, we're going to have the UFO hotline. People can call in. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like a safe space, kind of like, alcoholics, UFO Anonymous.
UFO Anonymous. There you go.
Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us today. Again, we're going live every Tuesday and Friday. If this thing picks up, our goal is to start going live every day.
It's not if, it's when.
When? Okay, you're right. I got to start speaking that out. We appreciate you guys. And what else?
Yeah, I think that aliens I want to keep talking about it.
UFO Anonymous.
Yeah,
there you
there's
go.
plenty more to come in the future.
Your biggest
guys.
fan is loves the idea of UFO Anonymous.
UFO Anonymous, I'm telling you, that would get huge. Another video we'll do soon. We should probably go live soon and talk about the whole bathroom situation.
Yeah.
That will be a fun one. But again,
I mean, you would speak to it most because you're a father of 2 girls.
oh yeah, I'm gonna go off. You don't have to worry about that. But we appreciate you we appreciate you, Tim, for being our
Yeah,
guest.
thank you for coming.
I'm sure we'll have you on again to rant about stuff that happens in the world that we are upset about. But we'll see you guys on.
Thanks, chaps.
See you on the next
Tune
video.
in.
Peace.
Cheers.